Yo, viewers of True Telling Time TV, are you tired of forgiving your enemies? Again, are you tired of forgiving your enemies? Because Matthew chapter 18, the verse number 22, Jesus asked the disciples, or Jesus told Peter to forgive his enemies 70 times 7 times. Jesus says, forgive your enemies 70 times 7. We are asking this question: how many times Satan offended the God before the God broke his friendship with Satan? Is it 70 times 6 times or 70 times 7? According to the Bible, Satan, the snake, asked Adam and Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, and God cursed that snake. So it is only once. We are asking, how many times Aaron and Moses offended the God before, according to the Bible, the God says they will not enter the land of Canaan? The problem they have with the God, or the challenge the God has with these two men, is the incident of Kadesh. Numbers chapter 20. The peoples of Israel want to drink water, and instead of Moses and Aaron to say God will give you water, they say we, meaning Aaron and Moses, they say we will give you water. So with the Jews, Moses and Aaron, they appropriate the glories of God. Because of this, the God says Aaron and Moses will not enter the promised land. How many times have they offended God? And how many times did this God forgive Moses and Aaron? Not even twice. Correct. Numbers chapter 12. They say Miriam gossiped about Moses, and God cursed Miriam with leprosy. Just once. But Matthew is saying, forgive your enemies 70 times 7 times. Okay. Now we ask, how many times Judas Iscariot has offended God and Jesus? How many times Judas Iscariot has betrayed Jesus? Once. And because of that, Judas Iscariot is banned from going to heaven, the Christian heaven. But Matthew is saying, you forgive your enemies 70 times 7 times. Are you tired of forgiving your enemies, your offenders? I will show you the right thing to do. Correct. Now, how many times Pharaoh has offended the God? Once, for enslaving the peoples of Israel, which is even a prophecy from the God himself. Genesis 50:13. The God himself says the peoples of Israel will be a slave in a foreign land. Indeed, Pharaoh enslaved these people just once. Because of that, the God struck Pharaoh with 10 plagues, according to the Bible. Matthew says, forgive your enemies 70 times 7 times. In the New Testament, Acts chapter 4 and chapter 5, Hananiah and Sapphira, how many times have they offended the Holy Spirit? Once. After selling their property, their land, they kept part of the money in the house and brought half of it to the disciples. And the Holy Spirit, according to the Bible, struck these people dead. Why the Holy Spirit couldn't forgive these people, but killed them instantly? Jesus said in the book of Matthew chapter 18 verse 22, forgive your enemies 70 times, 7 times. Are you tired of forgiving your enemies? Ladies and gentlemen, look, if there is a book telling you that forgive your enemies 70 times, 7 times, but the writers of the book, the major characters of the book, the heroes in that book couldn't forgive their enemies once. They couldn't forgive their enemy once. The first time their fellow will offend them, they take action. But now asking you to forgive your enemy 70 times, 7 times, the book might be asking you to do something wrong. Yes. When you forgive the person once, second and third time, let the person know that there's a law. Let the person know that there's a law. Forgive your enemies. Matthew chapter 18 verse 22. Forgive your enemies 70 times, 7 times. I can give you so many instances. Zelophehad, Papa B, there's a man called Zelophehad, according to the book of Numbers. And he went to cut firewood on the Sabbath day. And God asked Moses to stone Zelophehad to death. But Jesus and the disciple break the Sabbath severally. They did not stone them to death. And that God will tell you, go and forgive your enemy 70 times, 7 times. Do you remember? If somebody sleep with another man's wife, both the woman and the man should be put to death. Deuteronomy 22:22. First Samuel, baby, David slept with Bathsheba. Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, was David stoned to death. Let us start thinking. Share this video with your beloved ones. Matthew chapter 18, the verse number 22, which says, forgive your enemies 70 times, 7 times. No, the Jesus who is saying this, his father couldn't forgive Satan, Aaron, Moses, Miriam, Judah Iscariot, Pharaoh, Zelophehad, Hananiah, and Sapphira, and many more people. That God couldn't forgive them even once. But he's asking you, forgive your enemy 70 times, 7 times. Now, what should we do?
Use your common sense.